Good evening. This is the May 17th meeting of the Dog Park Committee. It is the meeting before the Dog Park Committee goes to the Board of Selectmen next Monday. That will be a posted meeting also to enable any of you who wants to speak, but it's not my meeting and I won't be at the helm. The selectmen will be running that meeting. It's their meeting, really. To begin with, we have 3 sets of meetings and a half a set of meetings, but we don't have that, which is fine. We do have 3 sets going back to April 5th, April 19th, and May 4th. So if you'd like to take a look at those in that order.
I didn't make copies,
I
I
have
sent
to
them via email.
open my email.
I'm evil, sorry. I'm saving
Sorry.
trees.
I've told you that for years now, you're evil. Of course, you never believe anything I say, which is fine.
Selectmen is at 7 PM, correct?
Yes, so, well, I'm sorry. The selectmen, they thought as near as they could tell, because I think it would be their reorganization meeting. They thought maybe 7:30 they would be ready for us.
Okay.
And hopefully we won't be there long. So if you close your eyes at 7:30 or get stuck in traffic, you may miss us, I hope. Are there any comments or corrections on the minutes of April 5th?
April 5th, Mr. Holstrom in the middle, just a typo.
Oh, yes,
Not everyone has a dog.
not
Just a
everybody.
yeah, it says
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
just a typo.
Unless you believe that the OT means everyone ought to have a dog.
Yes.
Okay, and any comments or questions on that set of minutes? No. We have a motion to approve them.
Motion approved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Then we have the minutes of April 19th. And that deals mainly with the approval by us of the material that went out to the butters. Good ideas, I think. Yeah, why would I fumble with it? Look like a fool, like read the paper. Are there any corrections,
I don't see any.
comments? Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
It's been moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted, unanimously voted. And then finally, the minutes of May 4th, which was, of course, the meeting with the abutters. Comments, corrections, omissions, motion? Motion to approve. Second? If moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of May 4th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? is unanimous vote. Okay, and Nicole is working on last week's minutes, and we'll have those.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks. All right, we have, as you can see, a very short agenda for tonight. I will say, because we've got visitors, that our next meeting will be a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen on Monday the 22nd. They expect to be ready for us at about 7:30. And at that meeting, hopefully, we will make our recommendation to the board. And I will post that as a meeting, so it'll be legal. Other than that, we really have, as far as I can see, only the preparation for our recommendation to the board. We have the visual presentation, which is similar to the presentation that we made at the abutters meeting, with an addition or two, or a change or two. And
You're
if you,
talking about some of the introductory slides you felt should be abbreviated.
yeah, I think that there's, what I said to the abutters, I don't think necessarily needs to be said in that amount of time to the selectmen. They're aware of what, I guess, of how a dog park committee was formed. And so we don't have to dwell on that. And they know what a dog park is, or if they don't know by this time,
So-
they probably never will. You can flash them up there and I'll go through them
Okay.
very, very quickly.
You still want him in the thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep them in the thing. Why do we need a dog park in Auburn? Well, that one maybe we ought to talk about, not just for the selectmen, but for any audience that
Any
happens to be
changes to
there.
this slide before I go on?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. I think that's perfect
This one as
the way
well?
it is. Yep, and the dog park site selection process, how we did it, I don't think we have to dwell on that. They know that we've been working on this since early in January, and they pretty well know by now what the steps were that we went through
Okay.
One
to
clarifying
come up with.
question.
Yes.
Do you think, and tell me, this is not relevant, do you think that the list of the 25 sites from the Open Space and Recreation Committee, that ought to be included? Because I don't know if they know everything that we looked at, and given that one of the concerns raised by one of the abutters was essentially that we jumped to a conclusion
Yeah.
through Lemansky. Is
Um,
it relevant to show due diligence?
We could, maybe the way to do it is just to print copies. And
Yeah, give them the
Give them
list.
a print of the list, although there really are two lists. And as I talked with the abutter that had the questions on this, I noted to him that there was a lot of overlap between the 12 sites that the town committee and the Fair Friends had first identified, and the land that was labeled land with potential for recreational use. Some of those aren't whole sites, some of them are parts of sites, and show up on that chart of 25 with in two or more places. For example, the old town landfill shows up with two addresses because there were two entrances to the landfill with different street addresses on Rochdale Street. There's 339 and there's 335 Rochdale Street. Really is one site, and really we eliminated it very quickly because it's being used as a shooting range for the police department, among other things, so we did not think particularly handy for dogs. But we can give them a,
I don't know, do you think it's
Should-
relevant? I mean, just to show them our process?
I think I would be in favor of that, if you think of the printed list
Yeah,
that they can reference.
Yeah, if they wanted to see or We felt comfortable doing that.
Well,
We
Yeah.
it may
also
be
might
only
still
the new
have-
selectman that hasn't seen that.
We
Right.
also might still have that Excel sheet that we filled out way in the beginning that said whether or not the sites we visited had water, had shade, needed to be paved, things like that.
I think that's still in the drive, actually.
Yeah,
Okay, so maybe we'll have a printed sheet of those then. Those are the ones we looked at. Then we have the slide that shows the Lemansky Park site advantages. And those, of course, since we have our options A and B, which are both Lemansky Park options, we probably should tell those. And what will this cost Auburn? Well, as far as we can, we should list that. Then we have the two options. Now, notice I've pulled those out, and I think that probably they should go at the very end. These are,
okay.
this is our recommendation.
So,
And we have option A, and I will, before we're done tonight, ask you to vote again, to make a final vote on that, if that is your choice. Actually, vote on the two options. And maybe we should talk about what we now as individual committee members see as the advantages of one of those options over the other.
okay, so I just want to make sure that we have this in the right order. So we have,
Okay, I think.
why do we need a dog park?
Right.
The selection process,
Yeah.
Lemansky advantages,
Yeah,
what will this cost,
yeah.
these tables.
I think if we're doing
No.
the Mansky advantages, don't we need a picture for the first time of Lewinsky and then maybe go back to it, Ron?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
We can do
that's
that.
right. You can just duplicate the slides, can't you?
Mhm.
So put the map up again.
I would,
Yeah.
doesn't hurt.
Yeah, duplicate the
Yeah.
slide, I think. And I know you don't want the tables, but it worries me if we don't have the tables. I don't mean the distance tables, I mean the comparative cost tables, that we haven't jumped through hoop number B, hoop B.
The comparative cost, the only reason that I hesitate to use that is there is no consistency in those costs. If you look at some that run $3 per square feet, as opposed to those that run $10 per square feet, you know that considering they're both dog parks, that they're really not being consistent, and they depend on what you put in those dog parks.
Well, as well as if we look at the overall size of the park, if you look at the one in Agawam, it's significantly larger.
Yeah.
In fact, it's enormous. I think the only other one that's larger than Agawam is Chelmsford. And the Chelmsford was a private donation. The land, the parcel of land was a private transaction to the town. And Mashpee, from what I understand, is an extremely luxurious dog park. So I think there's a rationale for why those costs fall outside of kind of the median. But I agree about not wanting a high level of specificity, but I just worry if we don't have it, we haven't completed the cost analysis.
And maybe that's as much as we should say about cost analysis. They run from X dollars per square foot to X dollars per square foot.
And I think as Sarah had previously suggested, we take an average. It's about $8 a square foot.
Yes, yes, there was no question about
So
that.
the
That was
projected
the
cost.
average, but people are gonna say, you played games with the average because you didn't pick every dog park in the state. You picked your choice of dog parks.
Actually, when I was collecting the data, it was the middle of the night, and I did a random
Yeah.
sampling based on the Stanton Park dog site as well as which Google sites returned the highest result. So that was my methodology. It's as random as you
Yeah.
can get. If they have a problem with it, so be it.
If if the committee would like that slide in there, there's no reason why we couldn't.
I think the only other piece that's important was the piece we didn't know, that the dog parks with the highest approval rating by Stanton are the ones that are within a recreational complex. because that's the other piece that we found out. And also the other piece that we found out was that 7 out of the 8 that we looked at have a successful collaboration with a 501c3. And that's, I think, shown on the second. If we go to the next slide, I think it's shown there, yeah. So I don't know, I kind of think that's important. Because, you know, if we're saying we want to preference as a stakeholder for the town. I mean, feel free to tell me not
No, I'm
relevant.
looking at it from the eyes of someone who's gonna say what this slide means, and whether or not I can do it capably.
What do you
Not
mean?
asterisk, maybe, you know?
Well, it's a slide that has a lot of information.
So really, the two relevant pieces are, we found the trend that the most successful.
Is it a trend, you know, is it a trend? It would be more apt to be accused of showing them a half dozen sites out of 100 sites in the state.
Well, I mean, we can't fit 100 on it.
No, you can't fit
You
100
have
on
to-
it.
you have
So
to get a
people
sample.
would be apt to say, you picked the sample to show what you wanted it to show.
Anyone
I
can
think it's-
accuse anyone of doing
I
anything
think
with
it's a
data.
varied, I think it looks pretty varied.
I agree.
I don't mind
think
saying,
it's
if you wanted to
relevant.
show this, and
I
I
think
would
we
say, the average
And add it
cost
to the
run,
packet.
and these
Yep.
sites are chosen at random
And
from
in
a
fact-
list of more than 100 in the state. Some of which were funded by Stanton Grant, some of them which were funded by the communities themselves, some of them which were funded by private donors, so I don't mind saying that.
But ultimately, all of these were Stanton Foundation parks.
These were, but the 130 or so in the state are only 25% or 20% Stanton funded.
Right, but if we're looking at data, wouldn't we want to exclude the variable that's not a common denominator like the Stanton Foundation?
You would want to exclude something that we're not even after, right? We're not
Right.
after a private donor, we're not,
Right.
you know, we're after the Stanton Foundation grant, and this is the data we have on a park that they've done before.
Based on the trending variables.
Right.
I mean, I'm having flashbacks to like a graduate school statistics class, but you know, it seems relevant.
It shows.
Well, it does seem relevant. I think that where you run into problems is that there is a wide gap between the dollar per square foot amounts. And while we say, well, maybe it's because of the size of the parks, and some of the bigger parks have a lot of empty space, and the smaller parks have the same amount of equipment crammed into them as the larger parks, so therefore their per square foot cost would be up. However, you see that some of these parks don't seem to be designed by the same designer.
Correct.
You people who have been to Millbury know that the Millbury Park, by design, doesn't seem to match all the characteristics of the Stanton requirements.
Correct. But I think, you know, the more that I remember doing this, if we look under the miscellaneous dog park features, for example, if the cost was very, very low, for example, Agawam, the cost per square foot was low, as I recall. That's because it consists of fence and grass. Whereas with Mashpee, I believe it's a high degree of detail. There's the rice stone, and then there's 3 double gates, and then there's a water fountain, which, as I recall, costs greater than $2,000.
You're right. And
Mr. Chairman.
those changes or those differences between various parks are something that is controlled by the later design of the park, not in the initial design of the park.
Are we recognizing people?
Yes, Yes,
Can I just add something?
you may add something.
Okay, so I have not been, however. Mashpee is an extreme, it's a tourist town. A lot of people are just there for the summer. There's, any place that's touristy, possible. It's more elaborate because it's vacation, so that would not necessarily justify the higher cost, but you can certainly understand it
explain.
because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
explains it.
Yeah, but again, that would be a cost that is determined by the construction
Right.
design, not at the preliminary design.
So how would you feel about if we did not include the graphs, but stated that the trends that we noticed is that it is approximately $8 per square foot, and that
I would feel
the
more
Stanton
comfortable.
Foundation favored applications for dog parks within a recreational complex. And secondly, that had an affiliation with a nonprofit stakeholder within the community.
What slide up just a second? Next one.
Would
You
that
can
be
please put
okay?
it though.
Sure,
Because that was
you
a
know,
pretty full slide.
Where do you want to put it?
Maybe we need to split it, because I was trying to put font on that side and it was totally full.
On which one? This one?
This one, yeah. I reduced the font and it was full.
Well, what section would you want to put it in?
Probably right below. The dog licensing fees bring in more than $30,000 a year. Maybe put in a new bullet,
We would need a new slide.
right?
Well,
I'm honestly in favor of keeping these.
I am too. I was saying, perhaps adding a slide after these that summarize the points that you just made. We can kind of glaze over, and if people want to see the research, they can see it, but just kind of go through and highlight, like you said, 7 out of 8 worked with a 501c3, and average, cost due to different types of parks and how elaborate they are, and others are not.
I mean, there will be a variability of factors.
Right.
And in fact, the town manager provided me with
So you
2
skip
links
over it.
when she saw the parks that he picked.
Yep.
The Yarmouth Park and, another one. So, I mean, there are easily accessible articles
Right.
without, going into the Stanton.
So basically, you're making
Data.
the points and then you're giving the backup information.
Yeah, basically
You
just
don't have to
summarizing
go
the more
over the
important
backup
details.
information while you're presenting. You just have to make these points and then say,
Right.
and attached are 2 or 3, 2 pages of just a, little bit of information.
Surrounding.
To surround that, right. Because in everything that we've done, we've tried to back it up with where we found it or the, the source and all that, so.
Actually,
That
the
kinda
town
gives us
manager
the
sent
source.
data regarding a whole lot of parks.
Yeah.
And including ones that I did not include because they were still pending, but that data would also
Thank you.
support
I
dog
had the word and then it just went.
7 out of 8.
You would say this stuff and then 2 pages of
What?
backup info.
7 out of 8, I think Elise said.
Yes, that 7 out of the 8
Is it?
dog
I
parks
want
we
to say
looked
as
at
little as I possibly can. For a variety of reasons.
had an
I don't want
affiliation.
people to
So that they identified. Do we need another verb besides looked at, because we didn't actually go look at them? So identified, maybe?
Researched?
Sure. What do we call this slide? Trends? Trends. It doesn't have the,
Dog park trends.
Are there any other trends
Data
from that?
trends?
Yeah.
does it have the, oh, it does have the,
Any other important trends from those charts?
You know, something like where you can be, you added these 2 pages.
Can you go back to the second comparative dog park feature? Can you blow that up? I'm awful, I know.
No, it's okay, I can't see you.
There's no way I'm gonna pass eye test.
So I get fixed. It's at the end.
I didn't take it.
No, I really think, that cost and approximate projected cost, and then the 2 trends.
Okay. So we have we have 3 bullets on this slide. Okay?
And I mean, the only thing that I will state for the record with regards to the data is on the price per square foot, I rounded up or down. I mean, so it's not to the cent,
I said
it's to
about.
the dollar.
I said about.
Okay. Well, before any accountants go looking at the data.
Are you okay? Yep. Okay.
You
All right.
just press the button and don't know what it is.
Okay, so, all right, so, to go back a bit, so we have, what will this cost? The first map,
Yep.
the 2 cost charts, trends, the first map again,
That's option A, as
And
I
then-
understand it.
yeah, the measurement slides, should we get rid of them?
Get rid of it.
All right, yeah, I don't like them anyway. It was good work,
Because
but,
it's good work and a lot of work, but it singles out particular
I agree.
abutters, and the abutters they're concerned with their own property, not who's closest.
do we want to fill in, do we want this table, do we want to fill it in?
I think we should complete that table
Okay.
because it does raise valid concerns based on the correspondence or questions.
I unfortunately cannot look at the question and the answer at the same time.
No, I do not want that.
You don't
Really?
want
I
that?
do not want that. If you have a meeting where 5%, 3% of the people you send questionnaires to question you, I don't think those concerns are the concerns of enough of the stakeholders to spend your time on those.
But wasn't
Weren't
the
we
whole-
instructed?
No.
Wasn't the whole point of having the community outreach meeting to address those
Mhm,
concerns?
mhm. And
So we don't?
have.
And
We
So now we're
we have
doing our
spoken
presentation.
directly to the people who sent us.
Even after they sent the letters?
Yes,
He went and spoke.
Yes, we
I
spoke to the
spoke on the
first
phone
Were
to the
those-
husband.
Were they satisfied with the response?
Well, I don't think they're satisfied with having a skate park near them. I think they would prefer the skate park to be somewhere else. But they were as satisfied as I think could be, and their chief concern that we have addressed is the retention of that berm and the retention of the woodland.
In that
Those are
case,
the big,
I would like to have those 2 things somewhere in the presentation, that we have a guarantee that that's not going to be cut down.
Well, didn't the engineer state that at
Yes.
last week's
Yes.
meeting?
The last meeting.
Stated that, right?
So to play devil's advocate, just for purposes of pure argument, I understand exactly what you're saying. 3 to 5% of people voiced a concern. But given that one of the letters alleged that we were minimizing their concerns, and that was their verb, not mine, do we need to, again, show due diligence because it was part of our direction
Right.
to do this meeting that I
Right.
didn't think we should do in the first place, but we did it. So now do we have to say, these are the concerns and the concerns are not valid because we have
no,
fact?
I don't think you ever say that someone's concerns are not valid.
Well, I'm not invalidating them, I'm providing fact to counter their assertion.
I think if concerns are raised, they'll be raised at this point by the Board of Selectmen, and we will address their concerns.
I think you're right, that this whole table doesn't necessarily be on here, because a lot of it is not our problem. A lot of it is the
The
DPW.
engineering issue.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like somewhere in the presentation to add that guarantee that they're not gonna cut down trees or the berm.
Perhaps in the pros of Lemansky
I
Park.
think when we
Right.
show
Mention
the
the berm
option,
and the trees.
now wait a minute, we haven't talked about the options. And I think that that kind of promise comes when we discuss the options,
Okay.
okay? I don't think it comes separate. I don't think it comes before. I think it comes in conjunction with why we favor one option over the other.
Okay.
And that would go into the cost part of the slide that you want eliminated, as well as the environmental factors.
No, I don't think it's a cost. It's a non-cost because we're not going to do anything. I think at this point, when you've said, when you've gone through those slides rapidly as possible, because you don't, again, you don't want to take an hour going through those slides. You want to say why you are here. We are here because we recommend this choice of site. And then I think you say, well, some people, you know, express concerns with moving skate park from its present location to where it's going. But that chief concern was in the screening, in the berm, in the protection from noise, in the protection from any kind of disruption to the homes in the neighborhood. And that's what we promised, that in coming up with these recommendations, no trees were to be removed and the berm was not going to be changed.
So, just so I understand what you're saying that we just state it when we look at these two maps?
Yep.
And we don't write
Yep.
it anywhere?
Yep.
All right, as long as you have to do it.
And maybe what, you know, I'm not saying they can look at the two maps for the same amount of time. You show your option. And I suppose now would be a good time to vote. Is there a motion by this committee on what option to recommend to the Board of Selectmen?
Motion to recommend A.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded that we recommend option A to the Board of Selectmen.
Everyone's too dangerous.
Is there further discussion? No.
Should
And
we?
what are the reasons that we do that now? We do that because we believe that placing the dog park immediately abutting the skate park is going to be upsetting to the dogs, disturbing to the dogs, disturbing probably to the dog owners.
and also right next to the parking lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Closer to the playground.
It's closer, much closer. Now we're talking about the option in.
And the tracking lots.
Yep.
And if you're talking,
Yeah.
you're talking about putting trees, which I watched you guys talk about that last week, I agree. You're gonna get a kid that's gonna put their hand through that tree and they're gonna go right through the fence to where the dog is, and the dog's gonna see a hand and the dog's gonna bite,
The
or the
kids
dog
just
is gonna do
go along
something.
the trees, yep.
And it just seems like the second option is just such a safety issue.
I agree.
It's a safety issue for the dogs, it's a safety issue for the children, it's just a safety issue. I
It's
think.
also crowded and it doesn't
Yeah,
need to be.
it's crowded.
Yeah.
So
And that's
crowded.
what you can see. We have room at the park, at Lemansky, to separate the dog park from the skate park.
It's a safety issue.
We have that moving of the skate park approved by the chief of police.
Dogs, kids,
We have it approved by the
everyone.
man who raised most of the money for the skate park,
Yep.
who worked hard to get the skate park accomplished. He is in favor of that. The police chief is in favor of it, of having it here close to the police station. Those are our arguments, I think. And that's why I say, and maybe I'm wrong, those are what we should emphasize, not the cost. That's why I don't want to spend all of what they're going to be expecting us in terms of minutes at a hearing, talking about things that aren't important. I think the important thing at this stage is we have identified a space at Romansky Park By we, I mean professional engineers have recognized this space. They have showed us, because they're professional engineers, they've showed us that we can use it in different ways. And we're presenting you two options, but we don't think they're really two options. We think there is one option here, and we recommend that one most highly to you. Now, what happens 2 months down the road? Well, we'll, for our friends in the town committee, and there won't be the Board of Selectmen designing this park. They may put a liaison on that, but it'll be the professional engineer, it'll be the town manager, it will be the animal control officer. They'll be designing the park that they want to submit as our application to Stanton.
Where,
And I want to leave them with that thought, that there are, you know, and we said when we presented option A, they like the fact that there's 30,000 square feet or more involved in A, but they've said that gives us flexibility to move things.
where in the presentation are we addressing the cost to move the skate park?
Yep, because that was brought up as
Because
well.
that was brought up by a resident, and I know,
Yeah,
but it also
Yeah.
feels like we're leaving that piece out, that I
Yeah.
guess, I know the DPW has a great idea,
yeah.
but I think we need to
Can you,
outline what it
can
is.
you, when I say you, can this committee say what that's gonna cost? I don't think so.
There's a strategy.
Yes, there's a strategy. And the strategy is not to say something you can't defend. And I don't think you can say it's gonna cost $19,246, or it's gonna cost $946, or because the skate park will be reduced in size, the money that the DPW now has in its budget to resurface the present park will be pretty nearly sufficient or totally sufficient to replace, to move the park to its new location.
Are you
And I
going
don't
to
think you can
include
say
that?
more than that.
Are you going to include what you just said?
Should I?
Yes,
I'm kind of thinking, yeah,
yes,
Yes.
because it's a loose end.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So,
And I tried when I said that now, not to commit to something that won't, 2 months from now, they're gonna say, well, that damn dog park committee told us this, and that's not true.
so, do you, going on the presumption that you're gonna be doing a lot of the speaking, do you want somewhere in the slides, that we recommend option A, that, we have a guarantee from the engineers that they're not gonna cut this down, and that the
No,
DPW
we
said
don't.
that
No,
we
be
have this
careful
in.
there. We have a guarantee from professional engineers that we don't have to cut it down. And that's a big, there's a big difference
Okay,
in that, I think, Sarah.
okay. And do you want?
That will fit, and that's a wonderful slide, because it shows that not only does that size fit in there, but you've got room around the sides of it. It could be even bigger than that.
So where would you like that
So,
information conveyed?
and I'll tell you this, we can't say what the cost will be, because we don't know how big it's gonna be. We don't know. We only know that a professional has said it will fit there.
None of us have said that we know what the cost is.
No,
However, where would you like that information conveyed in the presentation?
That's all I want right now.
right here, with that slide.
Do we, okay,
This is why we have chosen
do you
option.
want it written in the presentation, or do you want to remember to say it?
Or do you want it in your
She's
notes?
saying, you know what she's saying? She's saying that old man is gonna
That's what I'm
forget.
saying, the old man's gonna forget. Telling you.
Actually, I don't,
Put it down,
Okay,
you know, put it in there.
where do you, in this, in
Where do you
between the two,
wanna put?
or do you want it after the two?
That option A gives you much more room for both
after both.
a
After both?
dog park and a skate park. It gives you a skate park that is not gonna
Maybe
be
our
a detriment to
recommendation.
the homes on Wrightville Street. It gives you a skate park that is gonna contain the equipment that is deemed necessary for a skate park. It's gonna give you an area that's larger than the average home site in Auburn.
What do we want to say?
That's the question of the hour. Option A is our recommendation. This is where,
I need more words.
Option A is our recommendation. We believe that it provides adequate room for a dog park and a dog park far enough away from other distractions to the dog. And you people
And
think
a
the
dog
word
park
a place
to
of
function
distraction.
safely,
Yes.
far enough away.
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There is room to move the dog park further away, and I'm saying this badly at this point. The dog park will not be as close to the children's playground area. It will not be
Far enough
as
away.
close to the track. It will not be as close to a large stretch of the parking lot.
you can say all that, right?
Yeah. You don't have to
Somewhere
worry
else
about
that's
that.
reactive when a car starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where should the trends go now?
And the dog park, and I think the thing that we've gotten away from is going to be safe for elderly people like myself who won't be able to march up and down steep bankings as kids with their skateboards will be able to march up and down. So
Here,
this is a dog park for all Auburn citizens, not just the young, healthy ones, not just the ones that come from the gym before they come
So
here.
this site is accessible to all residents. And we need to say something about the community as a whole.
Regardless of their physical conditions.
But we need to put something
My
about the
case.
community as a whole, because that's been the word choice throughout this whole thing. We need a park that's good for the
Yes.
community as a whole.
Yes.
okay.
So can, I just see the top, option A, our recommendation, option A is our recommendation. I just think we need one bullet that says something about good for the
I
community
agree.
as a whole.
Because that was overarching.
Yeah. We still never mentioned
It will
the-
be,
this here and the cost and where the cost of moving this is going to come from, and this isn't going to put that down. That needs to be mentioned somewhere.
but that's true of both A and B.
But it's true for both A and B.
That the berm will be moved, trees cut down in either option A or option B.
However, the safety concerns are so significant with
Yes.
option B that I think,
Do we make that a bullet? There are certain, at the beginning, there are significant safety concerns with option B, and then talk about the pros of option A? Or do we strictly talk to the pros of A?
I think just throws it back.
Mhm.
well, because it's like they're listening and they'll say, so what are the safety concerns with option B now?
And then we can say.
Right.
Okay. Do we want to include right here the guarantees that we have for the berm and the trees, and where the money for moving the skate park is coming from?
No,
Are you going to verbally state that information? I respectfully disagree.
I knew it was coming.
It needs to be in the presentation. the fact that it was brought up by the abutters and was sent to a letter to the board, in a letter.
Well, when you say a butters now.
But it was plural.
I mean, they live in the same house, but they both people,
That's one of them.
but both people about the house,
Mhm.
about the park. And they were both sent to the board of selectmen. I'm assuming that they read the letters.
Oh, yes.
Or will.
So,
Oh, yes,
or will read the
read the
letters,
letters and
having,
furnished
you know,
them
with the
To
new.
us and furnish them with the list of sites that we considered.
So, because those issues were raised, I believe that we should raise the issues and quell, is that the right word? In the
Well,
presentation.
I put it on the sheet you got. You got up there now. This site will not require the removal of any of the wooded areas.
Natural buffers.
Natural buffers, maybe that's a better way to say it, thank you, Nicole. The natural buffers, including the trees, all the earth and berm.
BERM,
Yes, I
Yes.
believe so.
Yeah,
and, oops, I want to make the text smaller.
Yeah.
Format. Control Shift.
Negative.
That will do it. That just changes.
Yeah, I think it was Control Shift and then subtract. I don't know.
I did press that though.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Control Shift. Oh. No, what is that? A period?
I think it's.
there you go.
Yes,
A little better.
Well, I want to add another one about the moving to the costume of the skate park.
Yeah, the relocation.
The relocation of the
But
skate park.
see, the concerns have been
Um,
personally addressed, but the wife didn't come.
Has been addressed by the town engineers.
And,
Which they did.
Yeah, no, they did.
Yeah. but-
Well,
Do we need
Just
to
doing it.
explain it? We need to explain it. They addressed the whole cost. In one of the meetings, they addressed the
I
whole
think
entire
the way
cost.
down.
And it was not to cost us anything.
That's it, we leave it like that.
Because
Yeah.
of,
I,
it was
So
small.
it's
Not a
basically
case
making it
where-
smaller, not including a fence,
Right, no fence and stuff
And
like that, so the,
using the budget that already exists.
the budget that exists is gonna cover all of that.
Right.
I just,
So, and that was what, two
know what
meetings,
you
two
have
meetings
better
ago?
idea. Yeah,
I
So we have them
Go.
saying that.
And that's why I
Are we keeping
want
this?
you
I don't remember.
to go toe-to-toe.
Are we keeping this slide?
No.
Okay.
that's like, no, just delete.
Got it?
And you can keep
Are
the
we keeping
index
this
at the
one?
end, and if anyone objects, we'll say, here, read what
Are we,
where we got our information.
You wanna keep
We
this one?
didn't make it up.
Yes.
Yes. I just feel like, I think it's important to.
Can you add this year's 6 or a 10? or
I don't know which
whatever
ones
you
they are.
got? No, I don't either. Yep. Yes, Mrs. Zakis.
So I was just wondering if you would like, in this meeting or at the Board of Select meeting or at both meetings, to know how the fur friends feel about option A and option B, as to whether or not we will support either or.
Well, I'm being
We are
careful on
here.
how I answer that.
Okay.
Because I don't want this to be perceived as just the fur friends making their recommendations with false faces that look like the 6 of us or 7 of us in here. But I don't mind. I don't mind hearing
I
what
think
you
for the
feel
record-
about this. I think that I've talked with some of them anyway, so I know, but I would like that.
I think I would like to just have it all out on the table so that we're not accused of holding back anything until last minute or, we, and a lot of us are here, have discussed both option A and option B and appreciate all the work that's been done and that you guys have done and so on and so forth. However, as far as option A, we think that's a great option. We would absolutely 100% support that. We would also support, if needed, the park be a bit smaller if it had to be, we would support that as well. We think it's a great option, and we would 100% support that. As far as option B, we don't feel as though that option would be in the best interest of the dogs, because they are the ones that will be there. We feel that all the activity that would and could go on around there could create a lot of reactivity amongst some dogs, maybe not all dogs, and maybe not at all times. But, picture walking down the sidewalk and the dog behind the fence sees you and he just goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth because you're walking by. That type of a dog will do that and possibly more at a dog park if there's all that, I don't know what else to say other than emotion going on there. So we don't feel that that would be a good site for a dog park, and we've talked about it, and we've decided that we would not support Plan B.
I believe we actually had a motion that was made
do,
and seconded
we do, and
to
we
support
still-
option A.
We never voted on it.
We did
No,
not.
we still, I would say that we still are discussing that motion.
Can we go
Um,
back to that previous slide?
This one,
It's now,
this one.
yes.
Do we include that in our recommendation?
Sure. All right.
I understand that this is a presentation of the dog park committee, and the fur friends are an integral part of this process. The process that will hopefully unfold on Monday. I think it is valid data, because if the selectmen are looking at our two choices and saying, well, what are the factors in play? I think it could be valid to say there is a statement, given that the Fur Friends have been instrumental in this process unfolding to where it is today, as well as without the Fur Friends' support, this process cannot successfully unfold. So I would favor inclusion of language.
Agree.
Is that correct?
I was corrected, no hyphen,
Just
small
no.
f.
Yeah, no, there is a hyphen, but smaller.
But I'm still doing it wrong.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Support option A.
And we've already said in one
So
of
we
our
leave it
first
like that.
slides
Yep.
that it is crucial to maintain support from the Fur Friends because they are in good financial.
We actually need to say that the Fur Friends do not support option
No.
B because of the associated financial obligation.
No,
Right.
and I would say no, because who knows what options have not been explored in A and B?
Okay.
And who knows what options, who knows if there is an option C and what that option C would be.
Want to make sure Fur Friends is filled, right, everywhere else.
Do you think we have adequate information in this presentation about the cost analysis component?
Well,
Given that we took all that
the
stuff
way
out.
Stanton operates, it's so nebulous as to what the cost is going to be because you haven't submitted an application. And what you put in your application that you want in your dog park is certainly going to affect the cost of that dog park.
I completely agree, but given that we were told to do it,
No, we were told, well, yes and
to
no.
complete a cost analysis.
Yeah, I think that we have completed a cost analysis that we believe is reasonable. That if you ask us, is that park
So
gonna
Stanton
cost us
funded dog park.
X number of dollars. They're gonna spill over and the town will have to pay $1,102. You know, I don't think we can do that. You know, it would be foolish to suggest to the board that we can. You know, if they have asked us for a dollar and cent cost of this whole project, you can't get it now. Sorry, gentlemen and lady, we can't give it to you now. Those will grow out of the designs, the two designs that are coming up. And I think in their wisdom, that's why Stanton provides for 3 subsequent grants, because they realize that there may be things you didn't get initially or that you didn't put in your plans initially that you now realize should be there.
Do we believe that the data with regards to how many Stanton grants have been disseminated
Well, there were
may
20.
have changed?
Yes, yes, because there were 25 in the list that they gave us before this year's grant started.
Right.
And we know that they were working on at least 6 grants.
And there's 10 per year.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, so there may be,
So do we want Jim to call again?
no,
Okay.
no, because tomorrow that number may change.
Okay.
And I don't, you know, I don't think that number is important, at least not as important as how many communities have thought enough about dogs and dog owners to provide a dog park, whether it was financed by Stanton or by some other means. As you know, there's over 100 in the state. It's what, 300, you know this. How many towns and cities? 300?
I
Something.
think there's 340 something.
Yeah, yeah.
Is, Mr. Sarkeesian, is the number right for $30,000 a year in fees that dog licenses bring in?
The number exceeds that in the past.
Mhm.
That does not include late fees, penalties, and that was an approximate number of
So
dogs.
it does say
It's the same
more.
more than.
Right,
Okay.
and it was also based on $15, which is a spayed or neutered dog.
Right.
$20 for an intact. So we use the smaller
Yeah.
number. So it's more than that.
Yeah, and we have that somewhere.
We do. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure it accurately reflects
I think that the figure we used was 35,000.
30,000.
30,000. It says in more,
30.
more than.
Like closer to 40 to 50.
Maybe more to-
It's still technically more than.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
What other data points do it need to go into this?
I don't know.
think?
Are we ready for a vote on that?
Well, I
motion,
was
by
just
the
about
way?
to ask, does anyone want to make any other changes before we do that?
I don't know.
No, I
No.
don't think so.
Okay. Are we good?
I think so.
I think.
Okay,
To
all,
approve presentation?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Option A.
I there's
Where are we going now?
Option A or B. Well, actually, we don't have a motion on option B. We only have a motion to recommend option A.
Okay.
Okay.
Jack, you got a question?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous vote.
Okay. So, motion to approve the deck.
How are you concluding? What's,
Oh,
I think you're
So
gonna
that's the last
conclude
slide
with
before
that
this-
slide
before the
up
data.
there. That's what you want. That's what
Yeah.
you want to leave them with. That's what we've recommended. And the words are just words. And the words, they will have forgotten in 2 weeks. But I want that slide to be in their minds when they go away.
and do you want the final slide to be like
I want the final slide
To
to
the
be
map?
option A.
the picture or the words?
No, the picture.
So you want A to go back at the end also?
Yep.
Yep, so they did twice.
so it's in here 3 times now.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
Repetition's the key to retention.
So I'm just gonna go through the slides one more time, just so everyone knows the order we're doing in. Title, committee, dog park. Why do we need a dog park? So the process, Lewinsky,
Bless you.
cost, option A, data tables, more data tables, trends, option A, option B, or recommendation, option A.
Appendix.
Yeah.
data.
The appendix is there.
It's there
And
if they want it, but I
Yes,
don't
if they
need it
say,
there.
where'd you get your information?
Yeah.
We have it.
You have, it, yeah.
We have it.
Okay.
I think
Motion
that's
to
thorough.
approve the deck.
Question.
Sorry, another question,
It's all right.
or suggestion. So being as there is a new member of the Board of Selectmen who
Yes.
probably has not seen any of
Yes.
this, will he get this in enough time so that he can actually look at it before the meeting?
Can we get it to him?
I don't even, is that,
I
No,
don't know if we
We
can.
can't do that?
I don't know if that's.
All right.
I don't know what the rules are.
I think the question becomes, do we want
Do we want
to
one select?
give, well, we can't give one to one selectman,
Well, no,
selectmen are
I
given
didn't-
packets.
right, I didn't mean give just to him, but
Do we want them to have the slides in advance of the presentation is the question.
or probably.
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I think
would say
I'm not sure how
probably
that
the
would
new
work.
selectman is as aware. Actually, none of the board members will have
I'm
seen the
sure he can
presentation
see
unless
it.
they came to our meeting the other night and they didn't.
Right.
I don't think
Yeah, I
that
don't
they
think
were,
anyone-
they may have seen it on TV.
Right, there was
And
nobody in
they,
person.
and it, you know, what we presented to the abutters is available on TV so we could see it.
And they have seen the Stanton grant packets before, from the last time that you folks presented.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna present to them the list of sites we did look at.
We need to include that.
It's not gonna be part of this.
No,
No,
just
no,
in
we
paper.
can't.
It's gonna be part of the
In
packet.
handout.
Well, that's fine.
Okay. What is your concern?
No, I don't want, I don't want to give them.
Your concern is, it's about the trees, isn't it?
No,
It's about the trees.
I don't want to give them too much for them to understand.
Well, I don't want to give
That's
too many
said very
choices,
crude.
Right,
to
that's,
be honest.
that's my
That's
concern.
That's said
Yep.
very crudely.
But
Um,
I almost.
Too much information sometimes, as they said in that wall before any of you were born, but I was born, loose lips sink ships.
And they say history repeats itself.
Mhm.
You know, do we? If you have a concern about giving that to them, they've kind of already seen the list because of the previous round.
Those lists were, that's where we got them from, the material that was disseminated in the
I
previous
withdraw
round.
that request.
If they ask for it, we can give it to them.
Yeah,
But-
I mean,
Sure.
I have to read all my papers
Yeah,
every time.
I
can't
wouldn't
read the list
volunteer
if
it,
they
but
want.
if they ask
Volunteers,
for
if
it,
they ask for a
here you
list,
go.
then
Yeah.
here you
All right.
have it.
And the
Right.
reason that we're not
Just
doing that to
making it
them
available if they want it, that's great.
is because we only had it in draft form. We don't
Right.
know if that
Right.
document was voted on by
Right.
the Open Space and Recreation.
Right.
Committee.
Yeah, it
You
was
know
just a
what I'm
list of
thinking?
parcels that Auburn owned.
But it was in draft,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it was
Right.
pending a vote.
Yeah.
If you give them those, you're saying, geez, maybe you don't believe that we looked at all these sites. I think they're gonna believe that we did our work, that we did our homework, and that we were prepared, and that we looked at every available site in town.
So, there is a motion to approve the deck.
Second.
Third.
Fourth.
Remember that my approach to the deck is not to read the deck.
Yeah, I will be right here. I'll be flipping through it like
Yeah,
I did
I know.
last time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what
but you're not
part are you
gonna
going
say
to
to
do?
me later,
That's a good
"Ooh,
question.
there was
So I
a
think
point
we'd
on
like to finalize
slide
that
three that
also.
you didn't mention."
I like.
You might. But I know that I can beat you in arm wrestling.
Okay, so. All those in favor?
I
Aye.
Oh, we will.
Approving the
The
deck.
deck.
Approving the deck.
Oh,
We're gonna approve the deck
Which is fine, yeah, we're
Right.
not saying we need to read the deck, it's just this
You're
is
not
what
gonna
we're gonna
read it.
show.
Right.
It's just
I'm
that,
gonna read it 50 times between now and Monday.
But what part is Nicole doing?
Nicole,
It's your choice.
what would you like to do?
You pick.
You wanna come sit at the selectmen's table?
Yeah,
They
you
ask
do.
questions. Yeah, you did. I, yeah, we do this, but I, you know, I'm sure they're gonna want somebody up there sitting at the side table and we know
gonna be at the podium.
that Sarah's gonna be down there by the,
Because you can't move the laptop, so I'm gonna be at the podium.
You're saying you want me to do the whole thing?
you know, but
Okay.
if you want
No,
to.
no, I was just
Yeah,
afraid
if
for a
you'd like
second.
to, go right
No, I
ahead.
do not want to do the whole thing. No.
I- sure. You can do the whole thing.
I-
You've heard enough, so you can do it.
That's up to you, but I mean, I understand you're teaching too, and you have to be, you still have to be preparing lessons, so.
I think the both of you
I
together
think
would be an
I think-
excellent
I
I
approach.
think dividing
Yeah.
it would be better.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yes. Better, more comfortable than doing the whole thing, for sure.
And I think you're really good at answering questions too.
Maybe.
I think you are. You don't come across with a lot of ums and ahs. You just get right to the point.
Public speaking thing.
It's great.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
They're gonna say, we don't pay Spanish teachers enough.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, and then you know that the meeting is gonna be posted, it will be meeting, it will be posted for 7 PM, Monday, May 22nd.
So,
Now, we probably won't get called up there until, I would say we should meet first in this room, but we don't know if there will be some other meeting in this
So-
room on that.
there is the possibility that they could send us back with more homework. But if they don't, this could be our last meeting, right?
No, we have to vote to disband at the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
So we
will-
would need, we
yeah.
need to schedule
So
another
we'll need-
meeting
we'll need one more
after the
meeting.
selectmen's meeting.
Yeah.
So do we want to meet on the 24th or the 31st?
Depends how the
They
20,
not around on the 31st, so.
depends how the 22nd goes. I mean, we
Yeah,
switched
let's
away
just
with.
listen to what happens on the 22nd, then while we're all
Best case
sitting there,
scenario,
we
we
can
can
decide
disband.
then when we're gonna meet, because that is a post meeting.
If we get sent away with homework though, we would need to meet to decide
Yep,
who's going to do what
If
homework.
we
So-
accept the homework assignment.
yep.
So you want to wait till the 31st? Howard can't be here.
Ron,
No, I wanna wait till the 22nd.
Oh, and then decide.
Yeah,
Then
that's
decide,
a
yeah.
posted meeting.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right, is there any further business?
no. Motion to adjourn.
There is a motion to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So voted.